Thank you.
Thank you very much. Good morning, everybody. The Californian sun is shining outside, and you're here inside with me in a little bit dark room. So let's leave the reduced reality together. I'm really, really happy that you're here. And what we do is we talk a little bit, what does it mean to leave the reduced reality? How do we get there, and where do we want to go to in the next 15 minutes? So, cool. So today we live in a 3D world. This is how I call it, or how we call it. So like the chair you're sitting on is 3D. The tools we use to work every day, they're 3D. But we still work, learn, and operate in 2D, which means we have printed manuals, we have little 2D screens, we have construction plans and everything. So is that exactly what we want to have? Or is it like going to that direction where we say AR and mixed reality and virtual reality makes it possible that we bring those environments together, that we have everything available in the 3D world, are surrounding us, and which is a completely different world. And I would go into detail what I mean with that. So today, when I want to know something, when I want to learn something, I do that in the internet like I did it 10 years, 15 years ago. It didn't change. I go to Google, I go to Wikipedia, and I type in and say, I want to learn something about planet Earth. Scroll up, scroll down, and I have a 2D image. It's awesome, right? So this is what we do since 15 years, since 20 years to 25 years, and it didn't change at all. And I don't want to have that anymore, honestly. And last week, I found a nice article. I don't know if you guys know Walt Mossberg, one of the most influencing journalists, and he wrote his last column last week on Recode and The Verge, which is called The Disappearing Computer. And he talked about that computer we know, the 2D screen I talked about, will disappear, and we already have that. We went to mobile smartphones, we had iPods, we have tablets, and then the next thing is what you see in the animation, then voice controlled stuff like Google Home or Amazon Echo. So but what's next when we say the computer and the screens, they're disappearing? And this is what we call from the search engine era to the Jarvis era. You know what I mean with Jarvis? A few people. Who knows Iron Man? More? Oh, well, that cannot be. So the computer in Iron Man, who knew everything, holographic displays, all of that stuff, later on Google it and have a look on it, and then you will also know what we go to with augmented and virtual reality, is called Jarvis. So what I mean with going into the Jarvis era is that you have everything around you. It's surrounding you. While in the search engine era, you have to actively search for it. You have to look for it. But now it pops up. It's just there. And that's the big difference. This is where we want to go to, also with our company. That's the big vision we have. And I want to start with how does it change education quickly, and then jump to work, as we're also here in the workroom. In an interview, Ray Kurzweil, the futurist of Google, was asked, what are we going to do with all the time we have when we have automation, artificial intelligence, so our jobs are not that complicated anymore, and we have a lot of leisure time. And he said, no, we're not going to have leisure time. We will have more time to learn, because in the future, the biggest need is to learn, to have education. Satya Nadella, the CEO of Microsoft, said, it's not about anymore, it's not about being a know-it-all, it's about being a learn-it-all. It's exactly the same direction. It's about knowledge, it's about education, and that has to change, because there we do exactly the same. We read books, we read it in Wikipedia, in Google, or whatever. Peter Thiel brought a really interesting one, and that's something, it's not my opinion, but we can discuss about it. Education is an overpriced luxury. And what he meant with it is that it cannot be anymore that we have to go to universities to get knowledge. And many people, they don't have access to knowledge. They don't have access to university in many countries. So this is exactly why we need what we call the Jarvis era, that everything comes to you. You don't need to go anywhere. You just have it exactly where you need it. And this is how we do it. And the kids do it. My son is 5 years old. He's running around with the HoloLens, with any other kind of devices. And if there are any teachers here, yes, don't worry. He also reads regular books. He's not running around with that all day long. But he does it really, really naturally. And this is the way he wants to learn. Coming to work. Here are some numbers from a couple of reports. It's like from McKinsey, it's from Cotrill, and it's about how much time we waste every day for searching and gathering information. So 1.8 hours every day we need to search something or to find something which is maybe somewhere on our computer or maybe somewhere in a printed manual or wherever. So that means 9 hours a week. That's 1 day a week, that's a lot. And on the right side, the graphic shows that in average, we search, or we do 8 searches per day, which costs between 5 and 25 minutes each, which is a lot because we're searching stuff all the time because it's not available. And it's the big chance for AR and mixed and virtual reality. This is what we do today. This is also what we do with our company, with FLEKT today. We enable companies to produce their own augmented mixed and virtual reality with platforms, and that can look like that you have all the information you need to work really in your work environment. You see it whether you have tablets or smartphones or then soon glasses. That's exactly what we can do today, but that's not everything. This is not what we want to reach. That's cool and it's good and it helps us, but it's not what we want to achieve. So how do we get there to the Jarvis era? What do we need for it? And we have 3 areas where we want to talk about quickly. It's about enablers, it's about acceptance, and about convergence. Let's start with the enablers. You know all of those companies, and they're some of the drivers. In the last 2 years, we talked a lot about hardware. So everything was about the goggles and the mixed reality glasses. And now we come to a point where we say, okay, we have to mix that somehow. The glasses and the goggles without content does not make any sense. So we need to talk more about the content, and that comes together. You see all the big things here. You see Magic Leap, and I can tell you, no one is here from Magic Leap. I had to sign so many documents. They will deliver, and it's really, really awesome what they have. I can promise that. You will see it. And even Shazam, a music app, is really, really diving into that. Snap, I come in a second. Google with their VPS system. So those are some of the enablers, not all of them. And I picked 3 examples which I want to show you in a little video that you see what I'm talking about. That was filmed in an Apple store in Berkeley, and it's meanwhile also here in Cupertino at the Apple store. And it shows the concept of Apple, how to display content, contextual content, location-based content, which is surrounding us. You don't have to actively search for it, so it's not the search engine anymore, it's just there. So that's one of the concepts what Apple has, and hopefully they show us something soon. The next one, announced like 2 weeks ago, Google I/O, probably most of you have seen it, the Google VPS, where they combine TANGO technology and the knowledge of Google Maps to have indoor navigation. This is now the example of a supermarket where you can go through, you don't need to search all the stuff, you have your smartphone and later on your glasses and you have the navigation indoor. That can also be a work environment, that can also be maybe later on outside. It's not working well, TANGO technology outside right now, but that's a way how we can navigate automatically without actively searching and doing something. And the next one, oh, can you go back for me, please? Or does that work here? Ah, yeah, thanks. Now the video is not running. Can you support me with the video, please?
Yeah, I'm trying, but it's not playing.
It's not working?
No.
Oh, that's not nice. Anyway, I will explain it to you. This is the founder of Meta Glasses, American Gribbets, and he and his engineers brought his email software and other stuff into the Meta glasses, so that you don't have the 2D screens anymore. You don't need your laptop walking around with it. You have the glasses on, and all the screens you have there, you can take them with you. It's a pity that we cannot see it, but stop by at our booth and I will show it to you. That's a first example and a first test. It's not perfect. We need time to improve that. There's a lot to do. And as you know, the glasses are not at a point that we can use them every day. But it shows where it goes to. So we talked about the enablers. Let's quickly talk about acceptance, because acceptance is, for me, more important than all the things around the hardware. Hardware technology will be available, that's for sure. But if we don't find acceptance for it, the people won't use it. And why do I have the spectacles from Snap here? Because it's a great example. They even didn't talk about augmented reality at the beginning. They just said, we have some glasses, put them on, record the best moments of your life, and here we go. All the filter stuff we have right now, which is going like a Boeing. So it's really, really nice example. You don't need to have the heavy technology to find acceptance, and that's the first step to the success. As long as we don't have that, we can produce glasses like crazy. Nobody will use them. Fashion is one thing. We want to look good. And even if you're in an industry environment, you know how it is. When you walk around and it does not look good and the others are talking about you, what happens? You're not going to use it. If you use the voice recognition and you have to tell the glasses 10 times the same, what happens? You're not going to use it. This is how it is. So those things we have to solve. Functionality, usefulness, daily usage. As long as we cannot use it really daily and we say, okay, I can use it for 10 minutes, for 15 minutes, we're not at a point that we say, that's something which gives us a real benefit. And the social integration is something which I just explained, that it has to be accepted and it needs to look good, and otherwise you don't use it. Interfaces. We do so many interfaces also at FLEKT. We try so many different things. How can we make that better? There are no blueprints. It's trial error. We have to use everything. But I don't think that we want to use the same style as we have to, click a button and tap and like this all the time, like crazy. I mean, there must be something else. That cannot be the way we go. And by the way, Facebook talked about that at their F8 conference last week, 2 weeks ago. That they are working on a brain-computer interface that you can use to control augmented reality apps with your brain, whether it is with an implant or they don't say so much about it, but it shows where it goes to when we talk about interfaces. So where we came from, search engine era to the Jarvis era, we talked about the enablers and the acceptance, and what we can do today is we can visualize all the information around, we can visualize tools and parts and everything in augmented and mixed reality and even in virtual reality. But what we need now is that we connect that to intelligence and to the human. So it's the interface thing. As long as that does not work automatically, that the content pops up and that it is surrounding us, it's the same as we have today, and we still have that active component that you have to search for it. So that's super important that it comes up to artificial intelligence, machine learning, and all those things, and we just started to try that and play around with that. When you see those numbers here, I put them on it, and we can discuss about that, if those numbers are good or not. By the way, Ray Kurzweil, the futurist of Google, said 2045, we will reach the singularity, just to compare that. But what I wanted to show is how is the process, more or less. What we have today, the 2D screens, the printed manuals, the search engines, and then we go to the glasses. We have more other smartphones like what we have now with TANGO tag, with 3D sensors and many more things. We go to glass for daily life, contact lenses. We don't know if we have contact lenses ever, or if there is something else completely different, where we have the connected humans. And then the next step is then that everything, humanity, technology, intelligence, comes together to what we call the Jarvis era. So this is Jarvis, by the way. This is how it looks. It's a holographic interface, a holographic display. And just to give you the message again, what I wanted to tell you this morning in a really that quick presentation We want to go from that search engine era where you have to do everything manually, where you have to search, where you waste your time, a lot of time every day, to a world which we call the Jarvis Era, where you can have everything surrounding you, contextual, and you don't need to search for it, which is a big help for us. And if you want to learn more about it, what we can do today and what we can do tomorrow, then stop by and we show that to you at our FLEKT booth. And otherwise, see you soon in the Jarvis Era. Thank you very much.